And welcome in, everybody. It is 10:11 here on a Friday night, August 16th. Rick Ucchino and SP3 with you here on Smack Talk here on the Sportskeeda Wrestling Facebook page and the Wrestle Binge by Sportskeeda YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for joining us. As always, make sure to get your comments in, get those super chats in, send them in. It's the best way to guarantee to get your comment read on the air tonight. We'll be monitoring the chat all throughout the night and conversing with you as much as we possibly can. And yes, a lot of comments already pouring in for Afa Anawahi, who we lost today. Beautiful video tribute on the show here tonight. SP3, man. Yeah, obviously Wild Samoans, very influential tag team, one of the best tag teams in pro wrestling history. A reunion of sorts, because it wasn't that long ago, man. Like
June.
Yeah, so close to one another, man. So obviously our thoughts and prayers go out to the Anawahi family for a difficult time. And hey, man, family members still showed up to work and showed out tonight, and a hell of a closing segment there, SP3.
Yeah, it's a sad loss in the wrestling community, and it always happens like this, that it comes in like threes. Because we had, Sika Anawahi passed away in the end of June. Then you had Kevin Sullivan last week, and then you get Alpha Anawahi to, earlier today. And, thoughts and prayers and condolences to the whole Anawahi family, any friends of his. Of course, Dutch is not with us this week. He couldn't make it, but we'll hear his thoughts on, any thoughts and prayers that he has for Alpha Anawahi. But yet, like you said, I thought it was a beautiful video package on the show tonight. And WWE always does well to kind of document and honor these, legends of the sport. And the Wild Samoans is one of like the pioneer tag teams in WWE. If it wasn't for them, we would not have the Usos. We wouldn't have had the Head Shrinkers. We wouldn't have the Anawahi bloodline and this saga that is the best thing going in WWE today if it wasn't for the Wild Samoans. So definitely for the Us up there, dedicate today's show to him.
Yeah, absolutely. So continue to get your comments in. And as SP3 said, Dutch Mantell normally here with us, or Dutch is normally here with one of us. Dutch, very last minute, could not make it. Not sure what's going on. We hope everything is cool with him. But you got me and SP3, the true heel phenom. God, I can talk tonight. True heel phenom. You're the one who usually says that, and I fucked it up. Whatever. It is what it is. But we are here holding things down until we run through the entirety of the show tonight. We did get the Bloodline striking back. We have a new number one contender for the women's the WWE Women's Championship. We have new number one contenders for the WWE tag team titles, and completely different ways of going about getting those title shots that we're going to be getting here within the next week. We got the next step in our United States title program, and that match is also going to be next week. Seems like they're setting up a lot of like pay-per-view-esque matches that we're going to be getting next week instead of Bash at Berlin in 2 weeks, but I digress. We'll dive into all of that
because
here.
not everybody's going to Germany, folks.
Yeah, that's true. We're going to get like 4 matches on that card because Gunther and Randy Orton's going to go like an hour and a half. Let's be honest. Entrances included. Let's start with the Bloodline saga tonight here, though, SP3, right? We, after we opened up with the Nia Championship celebration, which we'll talk about, and then we get that banger of a match between Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. We get a backstage segment tonight. It is Solo and Tama Tonga. No Tonga Loa on the show tonight. No Jacob Fatu to start off the night. And they're having a backstage conversation about the Ulafala, right? That lei that signifies that you are the tribal chief. And apparently, SP3, it is as simple as that. He who wears the crown is king.
Yeah.
So if Roman can get his hands on it and he wears it, Solo Sikoa will once again acknowledge the tribal chief. And he says, Tama, you will also acknowledge the tribal chief. But don't you let that motherfucker get a hold of this Ulafala. He did get it a little bit later, but did not hang on to it. Do you like the fact that it's that simple? That it's just that simple, that there is that much meaning behind the Ulafala?
I'm fine with it. And honestly, the fact that they have kind of written this out for us and outright said this, it actually backs up a lot of y'all arguments that they could have just had Cody win at WrestleMania 39. And last year's story with the Usos and Roman Reigns could have been about the Ulafala. It didn't have to be about the undisputed WWE Championship, which no one believed Jimmy or Jay was going to beat Roman for that title. But they could have made people believe they were going to beat him for the Ulafala. But I digress. We had a great WrestleMania 40. It paid off in the end, paid off in the long run. But I like that they kind of just spelled it out for everyone. Who holds the Ulafala is the tribal chief. We have the OTC. We have the false tribal chief to a lot of people in Solo Sikoa. We have, Tama Tonga, second week in a row. He's looking at the Ulafala like he wants to wear the Ulafala himself. And then you have the enforcer that we would get to, but I let you go on what else happened on this show.
Yeah, so we close it out with Solo Sikoa coming down to the ring with Tama Tonga. And man, he asked the Orlando crowd to acknowledge him, and they did everything but. And even he was like, "Oh, really? Really? Like, it's like that, huh? It's like that. All right, fine. Y'all some bitches, but here comes Roman Reigns. He's about to acknowledge me, or we're gonna throw down over this Ulafala." And Roman Reigns, he does. He comes down to the ring, massive pop. Orlando crowd was hot for all the baby faces tonight, but especially for Roman Reigns here at the end. And Solo tells Tama to just go stand in the corner. You hold the Ulafala. Don't let him touch it. Me and him are going to throw down like this is basically like, that scene in Black Panther
I was
where
gonna say it's like the Black Panther, the tribal freaking
combat.
fight, the
Yeah,
tribal
exactly.
combat that they have to determine who is the Black Panther, who is the king of Wakanda. That's what
Yes,
they did.
that's exactly what it was. And Roman won that bitch outright. Even when Tama Tonga got involved when he wasn't supposed to, Roman took both of these dudes out, no problem. He grabs the Ulafala, just chucks the tag team title belt that was on top of it like it doesn't even freaking matter. He holds it up like baby Simba, right? And that was a little over the top, but holds it up like baby Simba, looks up to the heavens toward his uncle, puts it on. The crowd goes nuts.
It was like a euphoric feeling over Roman's face. Like when he put the Ulafala on, he was like, "Oh, I'm able to breathe again. Oh, it feels so good on my
All is right
skin,
in the
around
world.
my neck. All is right in the world." You could have ended the show right there, but nope. We
Nope.
gotta have some drama.
Jacob Fatu shows up and whoops Roman Reigns' ass. And SP3, what made this even more badass, dude is still wearing a walking boot.
Yes.
What? And he's running around, flying around, doing the Samoan drop. He's doing the hip attack in the corner. And props to Roman Reigns because his eyeballs popped out of his head like it was in the Beetlejuice trailer, right? Like just laying on the ground like, oh, I done fucked up. Like going up against Jacob Fatu. They drag him out there. They do the Shield triple power bomb through the announcer's desk to Roman Reigns. And then on top of that, just to do him dirty one more time, they drag him into the middle of the ring. They lay him flat down. They put the Ulafala on Solo Sikoa, point up, and acknowledge their tribal chief. This was a spectacular ending, and it shows just how much of a game changer is Jacob Fatu is to this. Like, you said it last week, right? They're building toward Roman versus Solo. Well, it's Roman versus Jacob is the matchup. That's the magic. He whooped Solo's ass, no problem. His former enforcer takes him out, no problem. Jacob versus Roman's the matchup.
He washed Solo Sikoa. Now, what has it been? 3 times. He did it at SummerSlam.
You're
He
doing
did it
Solo
last week.
no favors.
He did it twice tonight. Like, he just washes through Solo. He just washes through Tama Tonga like he isn't even there. He took out Tonga Loa last week, but Jacob Fatu, I didn't expect them to do it this early. I expected them maybe one more week, and then you bring back Jacob Fatu, but they surprised us by having Jacob Fatu come in tonight. And I agree with Derek in the chat. I think that the match should be at WrestleMania, Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns. I think you got to do the Roman and Solo matchup probably in Saudi at like Crown Jewel. That's the next big show, or Bad Blood, because it's blood and bloodline, or whatever you guys like, that little symmetry and stuff like that. But I think the next big show for him to do the matchup would be Saudi Arabia in WWE's mind. We had Crown Jewel. But either way, you do that matchup, you have Roman win. He still doesn't get the Ulafala even after beating Solo, because Jacob Fatu is in the way, or you have Hikuleo come in and just make it so overwhelming for Roman Reigns that he is at a steep numbers disadvantage with Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, all 3 Tongans in WWE with Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, that the numbers are too overwhelming for Roman, to the point that then he has to finally kind of suck up his pride, and he has to bring back the OG bloodline. He has to apologize to Jey Uso. He has to bring back Jimmy Uso. He even has to apologize to the honorary Uso, Sami Zayn, to set up Survivor Series. Yeah. And then build, and then from there, out of Survivor Series, you can have the OG bloodline win. I think the best move would have the new bloodline win War Games with Jacob Fatu pinning Roman Reigns to really put him over at a high level, because yes, Roman Reigns is the OTC, but Jacob Fatu is the FTC, the future tribal chief, the FTC, the future tribal chief. I acknowledge our future tribal chief, Jacob Fatu. This was quite impressive. And the fact that Roman Reigns sold for the first time since his return against Jacob Fatu, it tells me that even Roman Reigns believes in Jacob Fatu, the FTC.
You can call him the FTC. I'm going to call him a BMF. That dude is a bad motherfucker. All right. Like that dude is ready to throw down. And so like the whole Ulufala thing, right? I don't know I don't know what the length of the legs are on that, right? Like, I feel like you could, how long does Roman chase that around? I don't know. Like, I don't know how many weeks in and weeks out you can do that. I feel like you could take Solo to the next level. Like, if you do that match for the Ulufala, for the right to be tribal chief, like you actually do the tribal combat, you could do a part where Roman wins that matchup. He gets the Ulufala back, and then Solo goes back on his word where he said, we will acknowledge whoever has it. And then they just gang up on Roman. They don't acknowledge him. And then they break the damn thing. Like, they just destroy it, shatter it, and just destroy everything that means to the bloodline, to the family. And even that, maybe if you want to put over the Ulufala as this all powerful, all meaning thing in the bloodline, maybe the fact that it gets destroyed is enough to where you can get Jimmy and Jay that means something to them still, and that brings them back to the table, pun intended. You could do something like that, and that's how you could start to get to put the fragments back together for the OG bloodline and build toward Survivor Series in November that way.
That is actually a good idea, because that does seem like a great story MacGuffin to bring back the OG bloodline. I'm all for this. I'm enjoying the ride, the twists and turns that we're getting. Did not expect, like I said before, did not expect Jacob Fatu on this show, especially after the segment just before that they announced that he was coming back next week. So I was like, okay, we'll get Jacob Fatu next week. Nope, we're getting him this week. That was the big surprise. surprise was they gave you the red herring of you think, oh, Jacob Fatu is coming back next week. Nope, he's back already. Boom,
There you go.
with the walking boot in all. So like I like how they progressed the story this week, and they actually made this new bloodline look like a force. Like I think what my main complaint from Monday Night Raw this week was that I still am not convinced about this new Judgment Day, because it seems like every week they just get beat up like they're the putties in Power Rangers, because Finn, they can't be touched, and Liv runs away, and then you just get JD and Carlito getting beat up like some bums that they are. And so they have yet to make the new Judgment Day a convincing threat to the Terror Twins. But this week, what they did on SmackDown, they did the juxtaposition to that, where they made the bloodline, at least with Jacob Fatu in tow, as a threat to the OTC Roman Reigns.
Just real quick sidebar. Would you put the tag team titles on the Terror Twins? Would you have Damian and Rio win the tag team titles away from Judgment Day? Would you do that?
No, but I would do Rhea Ripley versus Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'd do that. I'd watch that in a heartbeat. We got Swazi coming in here with a super chat saying it's going to be Final Boss versus Roman Reigns in Vegas. I still think it's a year too early.
Yeah, I think it's you had to hear, you had to listen to what our Final Boss has been telling you, Swazi. So you could say you won Vegas, that's fine. He's a long gamer. Final Boss versus the American Nightmare in Vegas, and then the Final Boss versus the OTC 42 in probably London.
We got, oh man, I gotta get a passport then. We got another one from Swazi. We greatly appreciate it. Roman, clearly the biggest babyface in WWE. Now that Cody is the number 2, should he turn heel and go into Homelander character? You say Homelander, I say Highlander. Can there only be one SP3? I feel like in today's WWE, there could be 12. I mean, you look at the reactions that Rhea and Damian are getting on Raw. You look at the pops that LA Knight continues to get. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes were both on this show and both got overwhelming reactions. We just laid out months and months worth of storylines right here. Cody and Roman don't even have to interact until WrestleMania season. You can keep them on the same show and separate. I don't think you got to rush into anything right here. Why would you?
No. You don't have to. I think that they at the point where they were in the Attitude Era, where you have 2 overwhelming guys that can be the number 1 baby face. This is a Stone Cold Rock kind of situation that WWE has right now with Roman Reigns, and this comeback as a baby face. He feels like he's on a different level, and honestly, though, his pop did kind of made it dwarfed LA Knight and Cody Rhodes pop, because sure. I was like, both of those guys got electric pops on this show, but Roman Reigns is like a sustained cheer. It's like the sustained superstar reaction that he was getting as the champion, where it was a mixture of boos and cheers and people that just gave him just an overwhelming loud reaction every time he came out. Now he's getting it with 100% cheers. So it's just on a different level where he feels like the number 1 babyface in the company. But it's okay for Cody to be The Rock. The Rock was number 2. The Rock was the number 2 babyface. But when Austin wasn't there, when Austin gets injured, Rock is easily able to kind of fill in that number 1 spot. And Roman is not going to be here every week. I think the angle tonight sets up Roman to not be on next week's show. He wasn't advertised for next week's show, so I don't see him being on next week's show. I don't think he goes to Germany also. So you can save it for the next 2 weeks where Cody can fill back that number 1 spot again. But yeah, it's okay to have 2 very, very popular baby faces. This is a great time for WWE. They're talking about it being the best era ever. And to do that, you need to have so many different top baby face options. And that's what they have right now.
Like, this is how insane it is, right? Think about just like last year, CM Punk returning to WWE. And we're not even talking about him being one of the top 2 baby faces in the company right now. Like Is he even 3? It might be debatable, honestly, at this point. Like, just that's where Roman and Cody are, and they are both on this upper echelon level. It's not a bad thing, and I know everybody wants to pit these guys against one another, and we've got, Roland Curtis chiming in as well. We've talked about whether Cody or Roman is the number one guy. Look, I don't think there's anything. We don't even have to call him 1 and 2. We can call him 1A, 1B, all right, or 1A, 1BB, whatever you want to call him, right? Like, Roman is getting better babyface reaction.
That's what Cody and that's what Rock and Austin were. They were 1A, 1B.
Yeah, and then Triple H was C, and he's
Triple H was the heel. He was the top heel.
I know.
He was the top heel who feuded with both guys. That's what WWE is missing right now. That they don't have that top heel who can go against both guys at any given time. And I think that they will work on that by the end of the year. I have faith in the way they're doing their storytelling, that they will fill that. And you bring up CM Punk. He's a heel. He's been a heel in this Drew McIntyre story.
I know. They want McIntyre to be the heel, but McIntyre's getting the recognition for the work he's been putting in.
Punk needs to be the heel because he's the only guy that I think is capable of being that heel spot that can go against the Romans and the Codys of the world.
Are you kidding me? Heel CM Punk versus this babyface Roman Reigns? Sign me the fuck up. Yeah. Anyway, so continuing Roland's chat, Roman is getting better babyface reactions, but number one guy should be a full-time performer. Do you agree with that, SP3?
No. WWE is different. It's different now. You don't have to be a full-time competitor to be the number one guy to me. And that's why I think that Roman Reigns is the number one.
Says Cody is the number one guy unless Roman is full-time. Again, look, apples and oranges comparison. I'm just enjoying the fact that they're both over, and you got the roster on the babyface side is so deep right now. I mean, again, I go back to the insane reactions that both Rhea and Damian are getting. And just 3 months ago, I wouldn't even have said Damian would be getting these kind of reactions. And they have played him perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. Swazi saying heel MJF would be perfect for this era. Heel MJF is doing just fine in AEW right now, and he's locked up until 2027. So hey, we're all good. We get heel MJF right now on TV, and it's great. And he's going up against Will Ospreay, who is an awesome natural babyface. So everybody wins.
Me, I got to see heel MJF live at York Hall in Rev Pro, and he was splendid. He was splendid with his American ways, quoting Real American, coming out in the red and yellow as Hulk Hogan. Oh man, and of course I was a true heel because I was the only one cheering for MJF in York Hall for all those UK fans that were booing him out the building. I was like, "That's America! It's America!
Yeah. America!" Appreciate you guys getting in all the super chats and your comments in the chat. Feel free to keep sending those in. We'll read every single one of the super chats anyway throughout the show. And we'll keep an eye on the chat for anything else that tickles my fancy, shall we say. Let's go back to the top of the show here, SP3. We get Nia's championship celebration. Tiffany Stratton in the ring, accompanied by Pretty Deadly. And we get a true Queen's entrance for Nia Jax tonight. She is being carried down to the ring. She's got the crown on. She gets in there. She's handed her championship. She is being rang down with a chorus of boos. And then she hops on the microphone. And whoop. Chelsea was right. Nia not a fan of the pink. Not all about what the whole celebration has been about, but hey, whatever. She is all about destruction. That is what she says, and she wants everybody to fear her and bow down to her, starting with Tiffany Stratton, already shoving that little wedge between those two, but she wants to make sure that she's got Miss Money in the Bank underneath her thumb. So I don't mind what the power play that Nia Jax is pushing here with Tiffany to keep her underneath, beneath her. Great. You can be the princess. You could be Miss Money in the Bank, but I'm queen. I'm WWE Women's Champion. But did you notice Tiffany didn't bow down? Tiffany didn't bow down. She said, hey, I think men should bow down too. And that's when she quite literally turned the stage over to Pretty Deadly. And we get a rendition of Ode to the Queen. Look, their timing was a little bit off.
It was awful.
I don't know if it's because they couldn't hear one another, but I will give them top marks for the fact that those boys are 100% committed at all times. They live, breathe, eat, sleep these characters, and they 100% went for it. That said, thank God Mia Yim showed up with a kendo stick.
Yes, and I would take this 100%. 99 times out of 100 for Michin to come in, be the new number one contender. I like her coming in, hitting everybody with the kendo stick, looking like a badass. You just need to give her a cigarette and a beer, and she is the female Sandman. But I just wish I was more interested, and I wish the way they could have made me more interested if she didn't get beat by Nia 30 times before Nia got this title. They beat her like a drum multiple times. She beat her in 2 minutes a month ago.
They gave her a better shot the second time around. But yes, ultimately, yes. I mean, we talked about this last week. It's the same thing they did with Santos and LA Knight. Like you literally had that match like 3 times, and then LA Knight wins it, and you're going right back to Santos Escobar again. So like, I do understand that. Look, you're giving LA Knight a competitor so he can have a successful first defense. You're doing the same thing with Nia here. You can let Santos cook in the match and still lose, and he can look good. Same thing with Mia, right? You can have her go out there, cook, look good in the match, come up short against Nia Jax. Maybe even Tiffany Stratton ends up costing her. Maybe that way Mia kind of turns her focus toward Tiffany, and you can give Tiffany something to do, a rivalry of her own to have. Because I do think ultimately Bayley is going to come back at some point and come after Nia and her championship, because she did get screwed at SummerSlam. She did not lose fairly. Tiffany cost her that title. So Bayley's going to come back at some point. But yeah, you do have other women on the roster. You do have other men on the roster. You could have gone in a different direction other than Michin, other than Santos Escobar, but for whatever reason, they decided to go ahead and do these now. But I'm not going to complain either about Mia Yim getting this opportunity, because she has been very, very good in the ring. And I do think she is starting to get a little bit of traction, at least the most traction she has had since she returned to the company.
I am all for Mia Yim getting this opportunity. Like I said, I'm a fan of Michin. I like her with the kendo stick. I think she comes off as a badass. But I just don't think the booking is doing her any favors, because later in the night, she just gets attacked from behind by Nia Jax. So all the heat or the momentum that she got with the breaking up the championship celebration, they just put a bucket of cold water on that by having her get beat up from behind. I was like, who's supposed to does she have like 3 guys that are supposed to have her back? Where's the OC to have her back? Like, she just got shut out.
Yeah, like the whole OC dynamic has been very, very weird ever since AJ Styles turned heel. Going to be interesting to see what happens when he comes back. Oh God. Oh no. I already figured it out. This is what's going to happen, right? It's going to be LA Knight beats Santos Escobar, and then AJ Styles is going to come back after the United States Championship. We're going to get AJ and LA Knight again, aren't we? That's great. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Cool. I did like the backstage interaction between Mia and Chelsea Green tonight. I thought Chelsea was great with Mia. Can I call you Mimi? No. Listen, Mimi.
No. I was going to do the same thing. I was going to do the same. You just beat me to the punch.
Yeah, and then she got a title match for it, and then she ate a face full of door, as you alluded to. But I love that they give Chelsea Green TV time every week. I'm getting to the point where I want more of it. I want something of substance for her, because they have not yet capitalized or followed up on her great performance at Money in the Bank. And it has been, 2 months now? 2
We're
months
going on
now?
2 months.
Yeah,
We're
going
going
on
on
2
2 months.
months. My God. We get Andrade and Carmelo Hayes 3 tonight. Crowd really, really got into this one. These guys were trading counter for counter, punch for punch. Melo seamlessly turns the three amigos into a cutter for a 2 count. Andrade hits a Spanish fly in this one and an absolutely wicked spinning back elbow that you would have thought decapitated Carmelo the way that he sold that. It was so beautifully done. Melo finally leverages a pin and keeps Idolo down for the 3 count on this one. So the score is 2-1. 2-1 here, SP3, in what is obviously going to be a best of 7 series. They just haven't called it a best of 7 series yet. They could do 7, 9, 13. I don't care. These two dudes have insane chemistry with one another. Obviously, it's going to keep going because we saw the post-match shoving contest. Carmelo getting a little too big for his britches, which, by the way, I did love Carmelo's backstage segment with the big 3 earlier after that, where they were just like shunning him like, ain't you lost 2 in a row? And he's like, hey, they still watching my matches. And he goes down to the ring and he gets a dub. So keep taking those shots, Melo. Eventually, some of these are going to start going down for you. But
you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Exactly. Even though all 3 women are married. But anyway, I digress.
Yes, this is also true. I did think the same thing. I was like, Melo, you're barking off the wrong trees.
But that's kayfabe, right? That's kayfabe, right? I mean, we'll keep it kayfabe. Although I guess on screen they are all married anyway. Fuck it. Who cares? I digress. I love this match. What'd you think, SP3?
Oh, this was awesome. This was another great match between these two who are building up a nice little series of matches that seemingly are getting them over, because a lot of, the first matchup that they had, the crowd doesn't react much to kind of Andrade's entrance. They're still getting used to Carmelo Hayes, and he hasn't gotten the wins to get him over to the point that people are reacting to his entrance either. But every single time out, no matter how they react to them during the entrance, they always get this crowd into a frenzy, into the action, whether it be the Spanish fly, whether it be that wicked back elbow. They were into the near falls at the end when they were training pin attempts. And I like the fact that they gave Carmelo the win here. I think that if Andrade won this matchup, then the series is over. It's 3-0. The series is over. There's no comeback. There's no type of comeback that Andrade can make, since Melo loves his basketball analogies. A 3-0 lead, it doesn't matter if it's a best of 7. 3-0 lead, you ain't coming back. You ain't coming back 4 straight. You can't win 4 straight in the NBA playoffs. You can't win 4 straight against Andrade El Idolo. That's how it works. So he needed to get this win here, and these two guys just have insane chemistry together. I know my good friend Jimmy Macaram, he messaged me and he was like, it's a young Benoit versus Booker T kind of chemistry that they have. Okay. To me, It's more like a Rob Van Dam, Jerry Lynn type of chemistry, where they go toe for toe. They know each other's moves so well. They have different counters playing off of their previous matches. They just have developed this really solid, knowing of each other, and the chemistry is just off the charts, and it's getting them both over. You heard the crowd during the post-match when they get into that intense pull-apart brawl. They're like, let them fight, let them fight, let them fight. Give them some promo time, maybe next week or the week after, and let them build a little bit to this 4th matchup. But yeah, at this point, we're 3 matches in. They can let us know now that it's a best of 7 series. They're going to do 4 more matches, and then the winner faces LA Knight for the United States Championship. Just do it like that. Call it a day. I think the crowd is going to get both of these guys over, and they're getting over by hooping. That's the best part.
Right, exactly. And so that is the question. What is the end game here, right? Because like you said, it is working. Yes. Okay. So the crowds are, even if they are, as some people in the chat have alluded to here, even if they're not into their entrances, they are on their feet applauding these guys. They are making new fans just by putting on these matches. So if they're not excited at the beginning, they are enthralled by the end of it. So these guys are doing their jobs in the ring, and it is helping them gain traction and get over with the audience. But ultimately, what's the end game here? Is this going to be like a bar situation where they're going to do best of 7 and then all of a sudden they're going to be a tag team? Are we getting Andrade and Melo as a tag team together? Or are these guys just going their separate ways with one of them getting a title shot and the other one just, are we just going to get like a mutual respect handshake and then that, between heels, I guess, or whatever Andrade is at this point, and that's going to be it?
I mean, I don't see them being a tag team by the end of this. I just think that we need to decide who the better man is, who is the better wrestler by the end of this. But we're seeing more aggressiveness from both men, more intensity, especially with that pull apart brawl. So I would like the next matchup to have a little bit more brawling, to have a little bit more of a scrap instead of like the fancy little move. Yeah, make it more personal, make it more of a grudge match in the next matchup to make it different from their previous 3 matches. But I'm liking what I'm seeing. The crowd is getting into both guys by the end of these matches, so it's getting them over one way or another. So I'm enjoying the ride so far. They can face as many times as they want at this point. They are the Triple H cheat code of a good to great in-ring matchup. He has the same cheat code on Monday Night Raw with Braun Breaker and Ilya Dragunov. We have seen that match a bunch of times, and I don't care. Every single time that I see it, I feel like, well, I enjoyed that. So keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing, sir. Keep doing what you're doing with Melo and Andrade.
Can't wait for that 4th matchup. One matchup I do not need to see for a 4th time. And I feel bad saying that. I really do. I try to stay positive, but this was 3rd time not the charm between Naomi and Blair Davenport tonight. This was another one where it was just a little clunky. I mean, almost from the get-go, it was clunky. They just could not get on the same page tonight here. Again, SP3, and that's not a knock on either woman. Sometimes you just don't dance well with somebody. These two are great. I have seen Naomi put on banger matches for years. I have seen Blair Davenport put on bangers in the past. These two, they just don't mix well one another. I will say this, though. There was a spot where in the commercial break, Davenport hits like this stomp and then kind of like slips and falls into a back senton. That's a nice little combo. She might have accidentally fell into something that she could add into her arsenal, once she like sticks the landing and can actually like make it look good. But other than that, man, there was not a whole lot I could really take away from this matchup. Kind of an abrupt finish too, where Blair hits a stomp in the corner off the top rope, and then she hits the running knee, and not even a running knee. She just kind of like
the Kamagoye.
Yeah, and 1, 2, 3, and that was it. And suddenly Triple H is just all about beating people in their hometown. As Naomi loses in Orlando.
Guys, just in case you don't remember, there's a certain guy, we don't usually say his name around here anymore because there's a lawsuit going on, but he did teach Triple H how to do this.
Yeah.
Not the wrestling part, but the booking part, that was his teacher. So
yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I'd like to take something good away from this, but again, it just doesn't look like these two dance well with one another.
No. If Carmelo and Andrade have like 100% chemistry, these guys are not even batting 0. They're getting negatives. They're getting negative 14 chemistry. Like the one moment where I was just like, yeah, this is not going to be good. It's early on when Naomi tries for a head scissors, and it was like she was going in slow motion. It was like the slowest head scissors I ever seen, where she really didn't get her legs on top of the head of Blair, and then Blair still did the float over out of the head scissors. And I was just like, yeah, these two just don't work well with each other. And like you said, I think that Naomi is good. She's so charismatic. I think that, but it's also at the point that you kind of already see where WWE views her, where they strictly in this whole rivalry with Blair Davenport, they're using Naomi to get over Blair. And it still seems like Blair hasn't really found her footing on the main roster yet. So it's just a combination.
I don't see the confidence in Blair Davenport that I've seen.
No. No, I don't either. I don't see the confidence. And it really feels like between her and Kiana James that WWE just decided to call them up way too early. way too early when they did not have a firm plan for them. Like Blair, they're trying to put her with Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, who are not even on this brand. So I don't even know why you're trying to pair them together just because they're women's tag team champions when everybody and their mama pretty much want Jade and Bianca to win back those titles, or have Damage Control on Monday Night Raw win the titles from them, or have I'm sorry I have to say this, but Pure Fusion Collective, the worst faction name of all time. I'd even have them win the titles from Isla and Alba because they don't care about Isla and Alba. Like, honestly, let's be real, folks. I like Isla and Alba. I think they should have been called Dawn of Fire back in NXT. I still stand on that. Dawn of Fire was the obvious name for them. Unholy Union. That used to be Kane. That used to be Undertaker and Big Show's name. Why are we rehashing names? And then you give them the titles only because WWE had a show in Scotland. If WWE didn't have a show in Scotland, Isla Dawn and Alba Fire would not be tag team champions right now. I'm convinced. I'm sorry. I'm convinced. I'm only convinced because of the booking. I never try to complain about any wrestlers. I'm not complaining about any wrestlers here. I'm strictly complaining about booking.
Sure.
The booking of them as tag team champions is quite obvious. They would not have been champions if they did not go to their home country. So why are you trying to pair Blair Davenport with them when you should just try to establish Blair as her own character? But I think y'all called her up way too early. She didn't even have time to really develop herself in NXT before you called her up. She was on the NXT UK for a while. She was on the NXT brand for a year. She got like one title shot over there. It was like you could have kept her on the NXT brand, even though she has so much experience that yes, she deserves to be on the main roster. But if you don't have a plan for her, she's never going to get over. So I was okay. I wasn't surprised that she got the win over Naomi. I saw some accounts were like, "Oh, surprising win." I was like, "Was it? Was it surprising?" I mean, it was quite obvious. They did this match 3 weeks after the last matchup. It was obvious they were just going to trade wins, 50-50 booking here.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah,
they
exactly.
don't have chemistry. They don't have chemistry together.
Yeah, and look, and that's again, I don't want anybody to misconstrue it. I said the same thing about Becky and Trish until the cage match. Like they proved me wrong. Like they just did not dance well until they put on one of the best cage matches I've ever seen in my life. So maybe they figure it out. Maybe they get it together. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know if it's they don't have chemistry with one another. I don't know if it's Blair not wrestling with confidence right now. I don't know what it is, but something is not clicking yet. And they know that. Obviously, they know that. So we'll see if things can get back together. We'll see how things work out with the big 6-woman tag match that we're going to have next week. The Big Three versus the Unholy Union and Blair Davenport. That has been booked for next week. Roland Curtis asking, can you recall Naomi bangers besides versus Charlotte?
Her in TNA, she had a couple of bangers with like Jordan Grace, with Mickey James. Like she was delivering good to great matches in TNA. As Naomi, a lot of her best matches were against Charlotte Flair. I'm not gonna front on you on that. She had a really good matchup with Natalya at one point as well. So she had good matches with Alexa Bliss as well. So yeah, I mean, she might not have bangers, quote unquote, with all those people, but she's had good to great matches. She just doesn't have chemistry with Blair Davenport. And that's another thing that I say, once again, that's on the booking. That's not on either performer. You should recognize that these two people don't have chemistry together. So hopefully they just did the 2 matches, 50-50 booking. And then after the 6-man is the 6-woman tag is the blow off of this whole angle.
Hopefully we shall see. But and Naomi, by the way, as far as like WWE is concerned, yes, a lot of her great matches against Charlotte, but she tends to really, really shine in the multi-women matches, the Money in the Bank ladder matches, the Royal Rumble. She does very, very well and always shines on those big moments. Andy, not sure, actually. We just got told kind of late in the day that Dutch was not going to be here tonight. So hopefully everything is all right with Dutch, and he'll be back next week. We get a backstage segment where Austin Theory and Grayson Waller talking all sorts of shit, and Kevin Owens walks in on Grayson Waller, and you know he just does that that sarcastic Kevin Owens schmarmy, like, you're right. You know what? You're right. I am a loser. I said that last week. You look at my win-loss record. It's abysmal. Also, I'm an idiot because why would I turn down a guaranteed title shot? You're absolutely right. What'd you call it? What'd you say I was going to be tonight? An easy
Easy
dub?
dub.
An easy dub? I'm not good with words. I don't know. I'm a little older than you guys. Okay, let's fine. Well, yeah, easy win, right? We're going to be an easy win. Let's go out to the ring and take care of it. And then he gives him a chop on the chest and he goes down to the ring. So I thought that was funny. And then I love this match too, because this is exactly how this match should have gone, right? You talked about wanting to make things personal between Andrade and Carmelo the next time they're in the ring. This was all about sending a message for Kevin Owens. There was not going to be any lockup, not any dance, no nothing. Bell rings, shotgun drop kick to the corner. Grayson Waller is seeing stars immediately. And he just beats this man's ass. He sends a message. He had him beat with a stunner, which first off, karma for him going for the rolling stunner, and then he gets hit with a regular stunner. So I thought that was a great spot. Then he picks him up and he gives him the pop-up power bomb for the 1-2-3. And then we start to see, oh no, did they awaken a sleeping dragon here, SP3? Because Kevin Owens goes for the power bomb on the ring apron. This is the same move that he did to his best friend and practically murdered that man. And that's how much Grayson Waller pissed him off, that he was ready to give him a ring apron powerbomb. That's the hardest part of the ring. I don't know if you know that, SP3. The ring apron, ring apron powerbomb. Luckily, Austin Theory is a good friend, and he saves him. They get out a couple of chairs. They're about to do some damage on Kevin Owens. We get Cody coming out. The only appearance for Cody Rhodes tonight. Massive pop that he gets. He chases the boys off. Kevin Owens says thank you, and then he quickly, hastily picks up the WWE Championship belt before Cody gets a chance to. Cody doesn't like this, and Kevin Owens just kind of slaps it on his chest there. There's a little bit of angst here. There's a little bit of, you're talking about, we need a heel, a great heel that can kind of combat Roman and Cody. Now, we have seen KO and Roman ad nauseum over the last 4 years, and it always turns out bad for Kevin Owens. What are we thinking of the events and how everything kind of played out tonight? I don't know if that was a bug or something just flew in my face. Sorry. How are you feeling about what we've seen played out between Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes tonight? Is there any subtlety in the messaging that we've seen tonight?
I like the subtlety with how Kevin Owens went about this. This was very much akin to his debut match in WWE against CJ Parker, aka Juice Robinson, back in 2014, where he just washed through him at TakeOver Our Evolution, and he was washing through Grayson Waller here. Grayson got a couple of moves off, but KO pretty much dominated, and I like the fact that he hit the stunner and then hits the pop-up powerbomb, because that was the first sign that he listened to what Cody Rhodes said. Cody Rhodes said he wanted the prize fighter. So he pulled out his prize fighter finisher, which was the pop-up power bomb, and he was about to take it one step further with the power bomb on the apron before Austin Theory got involved. And I liked him kind of sending that message to Cody Rhodes, picking up the title and handing it to him, saying, "Thanks, buddy." And seeing that he is getting gotten to, and that Cody may have unawakened the sleeping giant. So I like how this progressed from last week with KO kind of turning down the title shot, talking himself out of the title shot, saying that he didn't deserve it, to him gaining a bit of confidence with the victory over Grayson Waller, and then showing that he does desire that WWE championship with the way he picked it up, the way he looked at it as well, and then handed it to Cody Rhodes. So I want to see what's the next step to this, as they have 2 more shows to kind of build up this title match coming up at Bash in Berlin.
Got a couple more things to talk about here, but before I forget, SP3, are you ready? It is time for Brainbuster. For those who are new to the program or new to the game here, this is something that's available on sportskita.com. This is kind of like our own little version of Wordle here, right? You get 8 guesses. It's all about trying to figure out who the superstar is, and you just simply start by guessing a name, and then you have to match the 6 categories here. What brand are they on? Whether it's Raw, SmackDown, NXT, or an alumni. Are they a Hall of Famer, male or female? Their height, age, and WrestleMania appearances. It's a very, very easy game. A lot easier than Wordle, because sometimes those things are just absolutely insane. But SP3, no Dutch here tonight, so it's me versus you here. We'll trade back and forth. I'll let you go first. Give me a name.
Kevin Owens.
That's who I was going to pick too. All right. So
look at that.
We learned some stuff. Okay. Not on SmackDown. Not on SmackDown. Obviously, green means you got that right. So you want to get them all green, right? So not a Hall of Famer. Current roster member. It is a male. Taller than 6 foot. Older than 40. Less than 9 WrestleMania appearances.
Ooh. Interesting. Go ahead, Rick.
Older than 40, because I want to say Sammy, but Sammy just turned 40. Old dudes on Raw. Old dude. Yeah. Okay. Older than 40 makes me think Raw, not NXT, obviously. Let's go with Finn Balor.
Look at that.
Okay, so on Raw, not a Hall of Famer, a male. Oh, he's 5'11". Damn it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, I know Finn Balor is shorter than Kevin Owens. I knew that for sure. So what did it say? Does it say older than 43?
Older than 43 and between 9 and 4 WrestleMania appearances.
Between 9 and 4 WrestleMania appearances. Interesting.
We got retweet the brand saying Damian Priest. He would not have more than 4 WrestleMania appearances.
Yeah.
These mean matches, by the way. These mean matches.
He's like 42.
He is older.
That was gonna be my guess. Was 42 was Damian Priest, but it's between 4 and 9 WrestleManias. That's the interesting part.
I think Damian only has 2 WrestleMania matches, like actual matches, and that includes a Money in the Bank cash in.
All right, let me go with Sheamus.
Whew, okay. Man,
Sheamus is not on SmackDown. Wardle or Brainbuster.
It's not him anyway, right? So, excuse me. Under 6'3", so we're getting very specific here. Between 6 foot and 6'3", so it's either 6'1" or 6'2". He's between the age of 43 and 46, and less than 11 WrestleMania appearances. Damn, Sheamus has got 11 WrestleMania matches.
Damn, I didn't even realize he had 11. That's ridiculous.
Okay, so my next guess was gonna be McIntyre, but he's taller than 6'3". Okay, there's only one guy it can be.
There you go.
Yeah. CM Punk on Raw, not a Hall of Famer yet. He is obviously a male. 6'2", 45 years old, 7 WrestleMania appearances, knock on wood, soon to be 8. So there you go, folks. That's a game. Fairly easy, fairly fun. Only one a day. Like I said, it's just like Wordle. Only one a day. So today's was CM Punk. And we'll see what happens.
Last week was Bailey.
I think the last time I did it with Dutch, it was somebody on NXT that he wouldn't have gotten in 18 million guesses.
Last time I did it with Dutch, it was Booker T. So
there you go. There you go. All right. We had I love these like Familia segments that we get with Legato del Fantasma, because Santos Escobar is such a great character in that that Godfather type role where, you know, Angel and Berto, they're sitting there. I like how they're calling them Los Garza now. They're sitting there and they're having a good time and they're talking about what they're going to do to take that United States championship away. And Santos is just like, hey, slams his fist down on the table and says, what is going on here? What we have become complacent. We have become used to losing. We have become used to people treating us with disrespect, and we cannot have that anymore. I would have loved this segment even more, SP3, if I thought there was a chance in hell that Santos Escobar was going to win the United States Championship. He is not. Unless WWE does like the dumbest thing ever and makes us wait 40 years to put a title on LA Knight, and then we're up. First match, done, over. See ya.
He's not. He's not. If you heard the pop for LA Knight tonight, you know WWE is not taking this title off of him. But it was a good segment. It was very much akin to the NXT presentation that Legato Del Fantasma and Santos Escobar had. And I love Santos saying, everybody saying Escobar. See.
I love that. That is so good. It's not going to suit him after the LA Knight feud is over, but I do like that. I'm glad that they're trying to make that a thing. I did like
I wouldn't mind their matchup going to like a DQ and pushing it a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Longer feud.
Yeah, why not? I did like LA Knight's promo. Shocker. I died laughing when he said he was going to knock his little churro in the dirt. That was such a great line. I do think the crowd got confused, though, when LA Knight said, I'm not going to forget where we are. We're in the nation's capital. And he was talking about next week's match, but the crowd was like, we're not the nation's capital. We're Orlando. He got him back at the end, but I think people were confused because they had no idea where next week's SmackDown was, and he was talking about next week's match. But other than that, I did enjoy that, and we'll look. These two are good in the ring with one another, so we'll see if it's a good, successful night for LA Knight next week. Now, as great as the Carmelo Andrade match was, and I don't know if you feel differently or not, the match of the night to me was the Street Profits versus DIY for the number one contendership for the tag team titles to face the Bloodline next week. You want to talk about chemistry. These four guys had it in droves, and you could like tell from the get-go, especially Angelo Dawkins. The Profits were wrestling like motivated tonight. Like they were out to prove a point. And from that yeet German suplex spot, which the timing was spectacular. It's a hell of a combo maneuver with an incredibly high level of difficulty. And they hit it on Tommaso Ciampa, who is not a small man. I mean, he's about 5'10", but he is a big, burly man. And they hit it on him, no problem. The stereo suicide dive, I thought, was a great spot in this matchup before we had Tez and Johnny doing kind of like the superhero showdown Avengers type blocking where they're hitting all their big maneuvers, the superhero kicks and punches, kind of look like Captain America and Iron Man going at one another. Tez hit a 450 splash. Well, he didn't hit it, but he attempted a 450 splash in this one. I can't remember.
Like, where did that come from? You've been practicing with your wife?
I've never seen him attempt that one, or if he has, it's been so long that I forgot the last time he attempted a 450 splash. Dawkins kicks out of a fairy tale ending, and not only a fairy tale ending, but one where he eats a super kick before that. Like
right to the chin.
Right to the chin, like damn. And then he catches Johnny going for the slingshot spear and flawlessly hits him into the spinning neck breaker, like put some respect on Angelo Dawkins' name. Profits finally hit the super blockbuster for the win. I'm a little bitter that like DIY won the tag team titles, lost them, and now they're not even going to get a tag team title shot, at least not right away. Like ultimately, I don't think it's going to matter because I don't think either of these teams were going to beat the Bloodline next week. But god damn, what a match, and what a win for the Street Profits tonight, because they have been laying in lull for a long time now.
This was another one where these two teams made their entrance, and I was very depressed because I was like, I remember when the Street Profits were one of the most over acts, and they at least got some cheers because DIY, you if you were just watching the show, you could not even tell me that they were tag team champions 2 weeks ago because they got less of a reaction than what the Street Profits did. But similar to Mello and Andrade, the crowd got into the action. They got over by hooping. And I thought the action in like the when they were in first gear in the early portion, there was a nice little sequence between Montez and Johnny, which would further be, paid off on later on in the matchup. But after the first commercial break, when they shifted into second gear, I thought that these guys cooked the rest of the way through, where I was disappointed when we got a second commercial break because I was like, come on, they were just cooking. They just got the second gear. Why are we going to commercial break now? But they just kept it going. The action got even better. We got some double team moves. You got the little two dives at the same time by Ford and Johnny paying off their little exchange to start the matchup as they got in and they started cooking with one another. This just had insane chemistry with one another. It had the crowd into a frenzy by the end of it with "This Is Awesome" chants. And these two tag teams really showcase why a team like the Lucha Bros will want to come to WWE, why a team like the Motor City Machine Guns should be happy to come to WWE, because Triple H will give these tag teams an opportunity. And I will say Triple H has been giving more and more time to the tag team matches, whether it be the Gauntlet a few weeks ago, where I think that was the matchup that really woke up the Street Profits, where the Street Profits was like, no, it's time for us to remind people we're one of the best tag teams in the world. That it was just 2 years ago we were having bangers with the Usos, and we were right in the conversation for one of the best tag teams in the world. The Gauntlet, that was a very good showing for them. I thought last week's matchup with A-Town Down Under was solid, and then this matchup was just excellent. This was an excellent matchup that had both teams looking good coming out of it. DIY, I think they just have to stay the course, keep delivering in the ring like they've been doing. They had a great match with A-Town Down Under. They had pretty good showings against the Bloodline when they lost the titles, but they just need to deliver more and more great matches like this, and they will get back over and they will get back into the title picture. But the Street Profits, their time is now. They deserve this opportunity. They deserve the showcase. They deserve to get heated up. I'm just hoping that coming out of the title matchup with the Bloodline, which of course, yeah, we all know they're going to lose because Jacob Fatu is involved. If they would have lucked out and Jacob Fatu did get injured and they had the first Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, then they would have had a chance to win next week. But with Jacob Fatu in there, he's going to win it for the Bloodline. But I'm hoping that coming out of that loss, they can still deliver some great matches on TV, because sooner rather than later, they're going to get back over the way they were 2 years ago. And they are going to be showcased as one of the best tag teams in the world. So I am all for tag team wrestling as good as this. This was tremendous.
Yeah, I don't think that the Profits are going to win next week, just based off of common sense, because I would say that Tama Tonga being in the matchup gives you the out, right? He's the guy that you beat, right? You're not going to beat Jacob Fatu, but you can beat Tama Tonga. The problem is, if you were going to do that route, whether, let's just say for the sake of argument, we get Roman Reigns, he shows up, he evens the odds, and he screws over the Bloodline, right? As a revenge. Why would you do that and put the titles on the Street Profits when it would make sense to give DIY their rematch and have DIY get the help to even out the odds after they were screwed out of the titles 2 weeks ago, and put the belts back on DIY? That's where you would do that. To go from A-Town Down Under to DIY in Toronto to 3 weeks later, you're dropping it to the Bloodline, to 2 weeks later, you're dropping it to the Street Profits. That whole cascade makes absolutely no sense to me, which is why I don't know why they put the tag team titles on DIY in the first place, to be honest with you.
It was they were transitional champions because
Yeah.
the Bloodline had to be babyface tag team. That's why DIY won the titles. And if you're asking, oh, why does the Bloodline need the tag team titles? Because, folks, I'm gonna spell it out for you. This is leading to the Usos reunion, and the Usos are gonna be the one that dethrones the Bloodline.
Yep. Unless Sammy and Jey Uso are going to win the tag team titles over on Raw. That could
I don't see that happening.
That would be fun though. Even if it's only
It would be fun. It would be fun. But the Usos,
Man,
that's what I think is happening.
God, could you imagine if they give Jay and Sammy the tag team titles and then they lose it a week later, just like they did with Jay and Cody?
I see that. I could also see that.
Hey,
that could happen too.
Man, if they do that at Bad Blood, though,
just
and we
so,
get another drunken
so
Jey Uso press conference, give me another drunken Jey Uso press conference because I'm going to be at Bad Blood. I want to see how old he thinks I am now.
Just so they could do JD and Carlito as the Judgment Day tag team to win it back. Not even Finn and JD because they're like, Finn, you're now a main eventer again because you're the leader of this group.
You're the leader of this group that has no leaders, but you're definitely the leader of this group, and we need you to go one-on-one with Damien.
It's
SP3,
either you or Liv.
SP3, what you got going on in True Heel Heat this weekend?
Check out the True Hill Heat flagship podcast. We go live tomorrow, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time, talking about the week that was in professional wrestling. We'll be talking about AEW with their stadium show next year, All In, going to Texas. We'll also be talking about their potential Australian stadium show. We'll talk about everything going on in WWE from Monday Night Raw, NXT, NXT going to CW, and the big shows that they got coming up as well. So join us live for that. We're going to have a good time, and we're also going to preview the G1 Climax finals, as tomorrow morning is the semifinals. So we'll break down the semifinals and give you our predictions for the finals on Sunday.
Follow me on X, the app formerly known as Twitter, right there on the screen. At Rick Ucchino, as you see it spelled there. I'm on Instagram there as well. X, the one-stop shop for all my work. I just released a conversation that I had with Jade Cargill today that I wrote up for Sports Illustrated, actually. So that was a fun chat. Jade Cargill, her husband is Brandon Phillips, former Red second baseman. We talked about the softball team that they own, just won their league's championship. What they're doing to elevate women's sports. It was a really, really fun conversation. Got a lot of great information in the 3.5 minutes I had with her at the SummerSlam press junket. So you can check that out. I'm going to have another conversation I'm going to be dropping with Baron Corbin here in the coming weeks. And hopefully I'll have some more good stuff for you guys coming out as well. So just follow me on X, and whether it's on CageSideSeats.com, Sports Illustrated, I got you covered. Across the board. Real quick, one last question here. Do we think Bobby Lashley will be at All In? He was moved to the alumni section, SP3 of WWE.com. So we know, that means 100% for sure that he is no longer with WWE.
I'm like 100% positive we're getting Ricocheted in the Casino Gauntlet at All In. I would not be surprised if Bobby Lashley is also in the All In Casino Gauntlet as well. And I'll be there at Wembley Stadium. I still have to figure out my ticket situation because AEW PR is not good and don't answer you back. But we'll see. Maybe I'll get a cheap ticket and find myself in the lower levels.
I keep forgetting that you're overseas right now. I'm jealous.
Yes.
I'll be at All Out though. All Out should be a good show. All right, guys. We'll be back next week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care.